Hey everyone, this is Lakshmi Tiwari and I welcome you all in this video lecture. Today we will discuss our previous chapter, the cell, the unit of the life. So today we carry on that chapter. In the previous chapter, we will discuss about what is the cell, what's the definition of the cells, the history of the cells and the cell organelles, and we deeply discussed about the plastids, and after the next cell organelle is the mitochondria. So here we will discuss about the mitochondria and many other type of the cell organelles. So let's start. So mitochondria. So mitochondria is known as you already know, the mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. It's very important to remember that mitochondria is called the powerhouse of the cells. So here we can ask a question: why the mitochondria is called the powerhouse of the cell? What is the reason behind it? So we can say that because by the help of the mitochondria, the cell of our body gave the energy to our whole body. So mitochondria is called the powerhouse of the cells, and the mitochondria are found in the animals and the plants. But here a very interesting question: mitochondria is also found in the animals and plants, but in which there is a lack of the mitochondria. So, except the bacteria, here you can remember, here you can remember that the bacteria, and the next one is the blue-green algae. So, in the bacteria and blue-green algae, there is a lackness of the mitochondria. In in the cells of the bacteria and blue-green algae, mitochondria is not found. So here's the nickname, or you can say that the second name of the mitochondria. So we can say the mitochondria is the chondriosome. So it's the secondary name of the mitochondria. Mitochondria is also known as chondriosome. So here we will discuss the chemical composition of the mitochondria. What's the chemical composition of mitochondria? So here we can see that in the mitochondria found many type of the chemicals such as the proteins, phospholipids, RNA and DNA. In which quantity? Protein in mitochondria are found 65 to 70%. So in the mitochondria, we find the protein 65 to 70%. And the next one is the phospholipid. So phospholipid in mitochondria are found in 25%. And the next one here we can see that the RNA. RNA is found 0.2 0.5%, and the next one is the DNA. DNA found is the sum of the quantity, or we can say that in the less quantity the DNA are found. So the mitochondria is the combination, or the mitochondria's chemical composition are it is made up of the protein, phospholipid, RNA and DNA. Next, here we can see the figure of the mitochondria. So in this figure we can see that here there are the many parts of the mitochondria. This part of the mitochondria is called the outer membrane. So here we can see here we can see this part. This part is called the outer membrane. It is called the outer membrane of the mitochondria. The next one is in the mitochondria, there are found the ribosomes. And here we can see the spots, small spots. These spots are called the matrix granules. What's the name of it? The matrix granules, which are the small spots which is found in the mitochondria. Next one is, in the mitochondria there are found the mitochondrial DNA. That's most important. And here we can see that the other part of the mitochondria is the inner membrane. So this part, here you can see that this part, yeah, this part is called the inner membrane of the mitochondria. And the next one is the matrix Christi. So here we can see the structures. Here we can see the structures like this, like this. These structures, these are the structure is these structures is called the matrix Christi. So here we can understand how the mitochondria form and or what's the structure of the mitochondria. Next one, the functions of the mitochondria. Here we discuss what's the main functions of the mitochondria. So here we can see that in the mitochondria, energy is obtained for the biological activities of the cell. So by the help of the mitochondria, energy is obtained, and where such energy or that energy utilized, so that energy utilized for the biological activities of the cell. And here a very important point to note that in the mitochondria there is found the aerobic respiration. That's important. In the mitochondria there is found is the aerobic respiration, and due to which forms the high energetic compounds. High energetic compound, the compound which is highly energetic. And the energetic compounds are the ATP. That's important to note. ATP. In the mitochondria, there is formed the high energetic compound that is called the ATP, and where such high energetic compound of the ATP is used, ATP is utilized in all the biological activities of the cell. And in this phenomena, or we can say that in this process, oxygen, that's important, oxygen, ADP, ADP means adenosine diphosphate, and the phosphate. So in this process, the three essentials such as the oxygen, ADP, and the phosphate enters into the mitochondria. Here, three compounds are enters into the mitochondria. What's the name? The oxygen, ADP, and the phosphate. And the ATP here important is that the ATP, and the next one is the S2O, or we can say that the water, or the CO2, or we can say that the carbon dioxide come out. So in the process of in the mitochondria, the oxygen, ADP, and phosphate enters, and the ATP and the water and carbon dioxide comes out from the mitochondria. And this whole process complete in 3 steps. So our first step is the Krebs cycle. So the first step completes as a Krebs cycle, and the next one is the respiratory chain, and next one is the phosphorylating system. So in the 3 steps, this process completes. Our next important cell organelle or the ribosomes. And here it's also important. So here we will discuss what's the shape and the size of the ribosomes. So at first we will discuss what's the shape of the ribosomes. So the ribosomes are spherical in shape. What's the shape of the ribosome? Ribosomes are the spherical in shape, and approximately it is 150 to 250 angstrom diameter. And here important to note that the ribosomes are the non-membranous and the microscopic particles. So here important to note that the ribosomes are the non-membranous. Mean to say that in the ribosome there is a lack of the membrane, and it is also the microscopic particles, and it is made up of so the ribosomes are made up of the RNA, mean to say that ribonucleoprotein and the protein. So the ribosomes are the combination, or the ribosomes are made up of the RNA and the protein. These particles, what particles? The particles of the ribosomes. So these particles very first time looked by Robinson and Brown. Here, two scientists named Robinson and Brown, and where they see or they look the particles of the ribosome. They look the particle of the ribosome, or they discovered the particles of the ribosome in the root of the beans. In the root of the beans. It is discovered by Palade, a scientist named Palade, and when he discovered it 1955, and where in the animal cells. So a scientist named Palade in 1955, he discovered the ribosomes in the animal cell. So here we can see the next name, or the secondary name of the mitochondria. Oh, sorry, ribosomes. So ribosomes are also known as ribonucleoprotein particles. So what's the secondary name, or the second name of the ribosomes? Ribosome's second name is ribonucleoprotein particles. And ribosomes are microscopic in size. And here we can say that the ribosomes are two types. The first type is the 70S type. So ribosomes are basically two types, the 70S type and the 80S type. So what's the 70S type? So 70S type of the ribosomes are smaller in shape, right? It is smaller in shape, and its sedimentation coefficient. Here, it's important to note that its sedimentation coefficient is 70S. So it is called the 70S type of the ribosomes. And our next type of the ribosome are the 80S ribosome. So the 80S ribosome are larger in shape and size, and its sedimentation coefficient is 80S, and due to its sedimentation coefficient, it is called the 80S type of the ribosomes. So 70S type of the ribosome are found in the bacterial cells and in the chloroplast and in the mitochondria. So it's important to note that where the 70S type of the ribosomes are found. So 70S type of the ribosomes are found in bacterial cell, in chloroplast, and in mitochondria also. And the next one is the functions of the ribosomes. So the main function of the ribosome, here we can see that the formation of the protein. So its main function, formation of the protein. And the next function of the ribosome are the synthesis of the enzyme. Here an important point to note that the ribosomes are called the protein factories of the cells. The ribosomes are called the protein factories of the cell. Why? Because its main function is the formation of the protein. So due to this reason, the ribosomes are called the protein factories of the cell. Got it? Our next cell organelle is the Golgi complex, or we can say that Golgi apparatus or the Golgi body. So the Golgi apparatus or Golgi complex was first discovered by a scientist named Camillo Golgi. What's the name of the scientist? The name of the scientist was Camillo Golgi. And when he discovered it 1898. And what's the second name of the Golgi complex? Golgi complex second name is the lipochondria. So Golgi complex is also known as the lipochondria. And the next name, its next name is the dictyosome. So the Golgi complex in the plants are called the dictyosome, where in which it is not found in the bacteria and the blue green algae. So it is found in all animals and all type of the plant except the blue green algae and the bacteria. And we will discuss shape of the Golgi complex. So Golgi complex are flat in shape, and it's a group of the cisterna or the group of the Golgi sacs. Next one is our next point is the functions of the Golgi complex. So main function of the Golgi body is its first function is the secretion. So the Golgi complex secretes many types of the elements such as the polysaccharide acid and the mucilase and the slime and the protein. So it secretes the polysaccharide acid, mucilase, slime, and the protein. And then here we can see the diagram or the figure of the mitochondria. So there are the many parts of the mitochondria, as you can see that so these shapes in the mitochondria, this shape here you can see that these shapes in the mitochondria, that is called the cisterna, and these are the sac-like structure. So in the Golgi complex, the sac-like structure are called the cisterna, and the next one that is called the lumen, and the next it's here its phase that is called the trans phase, and this phase is called the cis phase, and so on. So we go ahead and see the next function after the secretion. The next function is the formation of the cell plate. So the next function of the Golgi complex is the formation of the cell plate. And the next is the formation of the cell wall. So it helped in the formation, or it formed the cell wall. And the next function is the formation of the acrosome. And when it forms the acrosome during the process of the spermatogenesis. During the process of the spermatogenesis. And its next function is the production of the hormone. So it is the function or other function of the Golgi complex is the production of the hormone, and the next function is the formation of the lysosome. So it can form the lysosome, and the mitochondria, and the Golgi apparatus or Golgi body is also known as a traffic police. It acts in the cell as a traffic police. So our next important cell organelle is lysosomes. Lysosomes, right? Lysosome. Here we can see the word lysosome is divided into the two parts. First is the lyso, and the next one is the soma. So what is the mean of the word lysosome? The mean of the word lyso is the digestive, and the mean of the word soma is the body. So our next question is, who discovered the lysosome first time? So very first time, a scientist named Dubé, who discovered a scientist name. Very important to note that Dubé, who discovered the lysosomes in the 1955. Next, and he first time looked it in the animal cells, and in in the animal cells in the cells of the pancreatic cells, and in the leukocytes, and in the liver cell. So first time it is looked in the animal cells, and in which type of the cells? In the pancreatic cells, in the leukocytes, and in the liver cell. And next one is the shape and size of the lysosomes. So the lysosomes are roughly spherical. So it is spherical in shape, and it is single layered. Mean to say that, and it found there is a single leg, and it is single layered and membranous sacs, and it is found 50 different type of the hydrolytic enzyme. So how many types of the enzyme are found in the lysosomes? So in the lysosomes, there are found the 50 different type of the hydrolytic enzyme, and it's help in the dissolute of the proteins and the nucleic acids and the polysaccharides and the lipids, or we can say that the fats. So next is the formation of the lysosome. So lysosomes are mainly made up of the vesicles of the Golgi body, the sex of the Golgi body, or the ER, mean to say that endoplasmic reticulums. So the lysosomes are mainly made up of the vesicles of the Golgi body or the endoplasmic reticulums. Here we can see that the structure of the lysosomes. So at first we can see that the plasma membrane, it's the outer part of the lysosome. The outer part of the lysosome is called the plasma membrane, and the middle part, or we can see this yellow part, is called the lipid layer. So lysosomes are layered with the lipid, and here we can see the orange part of the lysosome, that is called the membrane transport protein, and the next one is the, here we can say that the spherical structures, spherical green structure, it is called the hydrolytic enzymes. Next one, the types of the lysosomes. So lysosomes are mainly two types. The first type is the primary lysosomes, and the next one is the secondary lysosome. So at first we will discuss about what is the primary lysosome. So primary lysosomes are mainly made up of the ER. ER means to say that the endoplasmic reticulum, or it is made up of the Golgi body. So lysosomes are made up of the endoplasmic reticulums or the Golgi body. Next one is the secondary lysosomes. Secondary lysosomes. When sac of the food is full, which is made up of the process of the endocytosis. So it is made up of the process of the endocytosis, and it fuse in the form of in primary lysosome. When it fuses in form of the primary lysosome, then secondary lysosome are found. And then the secondary lysosome are formed. The next one is the functions of the lysosomes. So it helps in the digestion of the extracellular materials. And the next function is the intracellular digestion, and due to these functions of the lysosome, the digestion of the extracellular material, as I already told you, and the intracellular digestion, it is called the suicide bag of the cells. Next one is the autolysis. Its next function is the autolysis, and the next one is the collaborate in cell division. So it helps when the cell divisions like the mitosis and meiosis takes place in the cells, then it collaborate, or we can say that it helps in the cell division. Our next cell organelle is the nucleus. So the nucleus was first discovered by a scientist named Robert Brown. And when he discovered it in 1831. So here, important point to note that the nucleus discovered by a scientist named Robert Brown in 1831. And the nucleus, which is embedded in the cytoplasm, and the nucleus are spherical in shape. And what's the color of the nucleus? The nucleus are dark in color. So here we can remember that it is embedded in the cytoplasm, and what's the shape of it? It is spherical in shape. And what's the color of it? It is dark in color. One nucleus are found in one cell. So the number of the nucleus in one cell is 1. So in the single cell, there is found one nucleus. Here we will discuss the materials which is found in the nucleus. So nucleus is made up of different type of the materials, such as the protein, phospholipids, DNA, and the RNA. So at first we will discuss the its first material with due to which it is made. So its first material is the protein. So the nucleus is the combination of the proteins and the phospholipids and the DNA and so on. So in the nucleus, the proteins are found the 70%. So what's the quantity of the nucleus are found in, what's the quantity of the protein are found in the nucleus? That is the 70%. So 70% protein are found in the nucleus. The next one is the phospholipid. What the how many or what the quantity of the phospholipid in the nucleus. It is found 3 to 5%. Next one is the DNA. DNA in the nucleus are found 10%. So in the nucleus DNA, the quantity of the DNA is 10%. And RNA is found 2 to 3%. And next we will discuss the parts of the nucleus. Generally, the nucleus is divided into the many parts, and its first part is the nuclear membrane. So its first part is nuclear membrane. The next one is the nuclear shaft. So its next part is the nuclear shaft. And the next part is the nucleolus. And the next part, which is the thread-like structures, are called the chromatin threads. So so with this, I conclude this video lecture, and thanks for watching my video.